So this is part 3. It's going to be the last part. We have 10 problems to do, and they all are a little more involved. They all have, just more steps, but nothing really terribly complicated. The problems on the sheet right now have on the same side of the equal sign like terms, either meaning the variables with the same exponent or the constants, the numbers without the variables. To get started, I need to combine the like terms on each side. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to go 19 minus 6 and get 13, and I'm going to leave the x. I'm going to combine the like terms on the left-hand side so that I only have one term with a variable and one without a variable or one constant. On the left-hand side, I'm going to do 32 minus 8 and get 24. And I'm going to write both terms in either order. I guess it's probably more natural to me to write the variable term first and the constant second. So needed to combine like terms, and now it's just like the problems that we're doing. Oh, maybe it's still even more complicated. Now I need to pick a side to get the letters on, and then pick a side to get the numbers on. Because there isn't a strong preference here. Each side has a number and a letter. It's going to take me 2 steps. I'm going to get the letters on the side that I'm comfortable with, the left-hand side, by minusing 8x from both sides. And when I do that, it makes it good in that I have only one term with a variable, which is a good place to be. But my goal is to have the left side, if I can, with the variable, the opposite side with the constant, and I need to get that 14 detached from the 5x, and because it's added, I'll subtract it. And then I can solve by dividing. So this is almost as involved as it gets, other than maybe we'll have some problems that have parentheses that we have to learn how to clear properly using the distributive property that we learned in the last chapter. I claim that's the answer. So I combined like terms on the left-hand side. I got the variables on the left-hand side by minusing 8x's. I got the constants on the right-hand side by minusing 14's. And then I divide it by the number in front of the x to isolate. I'm going to just check right up here. So to check, I go back to the original problem. 19x, I'll make to 19 times 5, plus 14, minus 6x, I'll make 6 times 5, equals 32, plus, instead of 8x, 8 times 5, minus 8. My answer is only correct if, when I simplify, both sides come out to the same number. And the left-hand side, when I simplified it, comes out to 79. If I haven't made a mistake, the right-hand side will come out to 79. If I've made a mistake, it won't. And either this means I made a mistake or I made a calculator error. Both are feasible. Let me just double check what I've got going on here. So 19x minus 6x is 13x. 32 minus 8 is 24. Don't see a mistake there. 13 minus 8. Boom. I don't see a mistake. Oh, yes, I do see a mistake. Ha ha ha. So look at this. I knew the answer was 2. Instead of dividing by 5, I divided by what I thought the answer was. Right here, I should have done divide by 5, divide by 5, and my answer should be x equal to 2. So for my checking, and this is good, this is why we check, because it's super easy to make a math error, even if you know how to do the problem. So now I put 2 in on the left-hand side and got 40. And I'll put 2 on the right-hand side and get 40. So again, it's good when I make a mistake. I don't make them on purpose because I make enough just naturally that I don't need to make them on purpose, but it's great to see what happens when you check and you have a mistake. 47 and 48 are real similar. On 47, on the left-hand side, I need to combine the 14 and the minus 2. On the right-hand side, I need to combine the like terms of minus 32 and minus 8. So left-hand side, not calculator worthy, 14 minus 2 is 12. On the left-hand side, I'm going to write 9x, positive 12 that is. On the right-hand side, I'm not doing anything with the 7x, but negative 32 minus 8 using negative 32 minus 8 equals, I'm just going to write minus 40. Now, I need to pick a side to get the variables on. I like getting variables on the left-hand side. So I'm going to minus 7x from both sides. That's going to give me 2x plus 12 equals to minus 40. And then I'm going to minus 12. So hopefully this is starting to feel like, oh, I know how to do this even in a more complicated problem. Once I can get it started, I can know what to do. On the right-hand side, minus 40 minus 12 is minus 52, or negative 52. And then divide by 2, divide by 2. I think I can do that in my head. I believe the answer is negative 26. And I'm going to check. I'm going to go, is 9 times negative 26 plus 14 minus 2 equal to negative 32 plus 7 times minus 26 minus 8, just going to the original problem, changing the x's to what they should be. So 9 times minus 26 plus 14 minus 2, left-hand side minus 222. First classroom I ever taught in at NAU in 1992. Haha, perfect. And the only reason I knew that, there used to be a TV show called Room 222, otherwise it wouldn't have any significance. All right, so I felt good about that. Next two problems have parentheses. I can't solve a problem with the parentheses. I need to use the distributive property to clear my parentheses. So in 50, I'm going to use the distributive property to clear the parentheses. I'm going to go 2 times 3y minus 2 times 11 equals 8. So distribute the 2 and multiply it through. This is going to give me 6y minus 22 equals 8. So I cleared the parentheses. And now it's just a simple two-step problem. I'm going to add 22 to both sides and then divide by 6 and get 6y equals to 30. And then divide by 6, divide by 6. I get what I believe is the right answer, which is, I believe it's y equal to 5. For my checking, I'll go 2 times 3 times 5 minus 11 and see if that equals to 8. And that's nice. I don't have to double check. I only have to check the left-hand side because the right-hand side is just that single 8. So I'm just trying to get 2 times 3 times 5 minus 11, making sure they balance out and they do perfectly. Still 7 more problems. Let me just keep trudging through these. 52, I need to clear the parentheses. I'm going to go negative 7 times 4x minus negative 7 times 1, just multiplying the negative 7 by the 4x, multiplying the negative 7 by the 1, leaving the minus sign between. I probably would have just written this as plus 7. A little bit later in the semester, I'll get lazy and start doing some of the algebra in my head. The first multiplication gives me negative 28x. The second multiplication, I technically get minus negative 7, which is a plus 7. I could have, probably should have, just said negative 7 times negative 4x is negative 20x, 8x. Negative 7 times negative 1 is positive 7, rather than going through this whole process that I properly went through, but that I don't really care to go through. All right, now I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. The numbers on the right-hand side have the same sign, so I'm going to wind up adding them as opposed to subtracting. On this right-hand side, I have negative 49 using the negative by the fraction, minus using the minus by the equal sign, 7, and I get negative 56. And then divide by negative 28, divide by negative 28. That's going to give me x equals to positive 2. Calculator check. So calculator, I'm just going to go negative 7, parentheses, 4 times 2 minus 1, not even writing anything down for my checking. That's the left-hand side with the x changed to 2. I better get negative 49 out. And I did. So I hit the mouse on my calculator. I thought it shut off the recording. I was like, ugh, but it didn't. 54, if you don't like the order, you can change it. I can make this have the variable on the left-hand side if that's what I like. And that's kind of what most students prefer. Let me clear the parentheses like a typical algebra teacher. I'm going to clear this parentheses. I'm going to go negative 2 times positive 5, and I'm going to leave the x. Negative 2 times positive 5 is negative 10. I'm going to leave the x. And then rather than formally using the distributive property, I'm going to shortcut. I'm going to go negative 2 times negative 1. 2 negatives multiply out to be a positive. And then I'll get 15. Looking like I'm going to get a fraction answer. I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. That's going to give me negative 10x equals to positive 13. And then I'm going to divide by negative 10. It is acceptable to have a negative in the denominator of my answer, but it looks odd. For an answer, this would be odd, but correct. This is probably what I would generally write, and this I might write as well. Any one of these is okay. This one's easiest for me for checking purposes. It just is. So I'm going to check. I'm going to see if 15 equals to negative 2 times 5 times negative 13 over 10 minus 1, and calculator check that right hand side. So negative 2 parentheses 5 times fraction negative 13 over 10 minus 1, close my parentheses. That gives me 15 equals to 15. No, I'm good. Just a few more problems. This is a super important skill, so doing maybe more than you feel the need to do is not a bad thing. Any of these problems that have parentheses, you got to clear the parentheses. I'm going to clear this parentheses by going positive 4 times positive 3 and positive 4 times negative 5, and kind of getting the variables tucked in there too. I'm going to leave the 2x, do positive 4 times 3x, leave the x, multiply the 4 and 3, and get 12x. Positive 4 times negative 5 is negative 20, and I still have the 22. On the left-hand side, I'm going to combine like terms. Don't know how much this looks like 20. It doesn't really look more like 20 now, but it is. I'm going to combine the 2x and the 12x on the left-hand side and get 14x. Leave the minus 20 equals to 22. Add 20 to both sides. That's going to give me 14x equals to 42. Divide by 14. Divide by 14. I could do that in my head, but use your calculator if you can't. I think I get x equal to 3. I can completely calculator check this because I'm only checking one side. So left-hand side, 2 times 3 plus 4 parentheses, 3 times 3 minus 5, close my parentheses. So I made that x and that x a 3, wrote everything else the same. When I hit equals, it gives me perfect matching. The left side and the right side match, so I know my answer is correct. Too many. And they get longer and longer as we get through this. Got to clear the parentheses again in problem 58. Any of these problems that have parentheses, first step, I'm going to clear it. I really have to think of this as 5 times 1x minus 3. Think of that implied coefficient of 1 for my checking. I'm going to go to get rid of the parentheses, I'm going to go 5 times 1, leave the x, and 5 times minus 3. I'm going to leave the left-hand side 7x plus 12. On the right-hand side, 5 times 1x, I just multiply the 5 and 1 and get 5, and I leave the x. 5 times minus 3 is minus 15. And the other stuff, the plus 7 that's after the parentheses and the entire left side, just stay fixed. Now on the left-hand side, I'm going to combine the minus 15 plus 7. Those are like terms, and I get negative 8. Now I'm going to get the variables on the left-hand side by minusing 5x from both sides. That's going to give me 2x plus 12 equals negative 8. Then I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. On the left-hand side, the 12s will cancel. On the right-hand side, negative 8 minus 12 is negative 20. Lastly, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. On the left-hand side, I get an x. On the right-hand side, I believe that's negative 10. I have to check both sides. So for my checking, I'd have to say is 7 times negative 10 plus 12. That's changing the x on the left-hand side to negative 12. Does that equal 5 times negative 10 minus 3 plus 7? So 7 times negative 10 plus 12, that's negative 58. 5 times negative 10 minus 3 in a parentheses, and then plus 7 after the parentheses. Feels good, so that checks just perfectly. 2 more? That's not so bad. Got to clear the parentheses for both 59 and 60. To clear the parentheses in 60, I'm going to leave the 8x, and then I'm going to go negative 2 or minus 2 times 3x and get a minus 6x. So that's negative 2 times 3x. And then I'm going to do negative 2 times negative 4 and get positive 8. So clearing the parentheses, the left-hand side becomes 8x minus 6x plus 8. I have like terms on the left-hand side that I need to combine. 8x minus 6x, I just go 8 minus 6 and get a 2, and I leave the x. And now I'm going to get the x's on one side. Most students just like having the x's on the left side, so I'm going to do that just because that's generally what 9 times out of 10 what I'll see. So this would be consistent with maybe how you've been taught, but it doesn't matter. I could get the variables on the right-hand side. After that, I'm going to minus 8 from both sides. Oh, I'm getting tired. Gives me minus 2x equals minus 6. And then divide. And if this class isn't online soon, because COVID is good, and maybe nobody ever watches this video, I'm just doing it for myself. I get x equals 3. And, gosh, there's actually 2 more problems after this. Let me check to see if 8 times 3 minus 2 times 3 times 3 minus 4 equals 4 times 3 plus 2. So 8 times 3 minus 2 times 3 times 3 minus 4. Left-hand side comes out to 14. And then 4 times 3 plus 2. I use time signs instead of parentheses because I just wanted to speed up the process. And it checks just fine. Now 2 more problems. Let's just do one of your homework problems for the heck of it. Let's do 61. So pause the video and give it a try if you're still with me. So I'm going to go negative 3 times 1x plus 2. To clear that parentheses, I'm going to go negative 3 times 1x and negative 3 times 2. On the left-hand side, I'm going to leave the 8x. Multiplying negative 3 by the x, you get negative 3x. Multiplying negative 3 by the 2, you get negative 6. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go 2 times 2x to clear the parentheses, and 2 times 1. The 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is positive 2. I'll leave the negative 3. So I cleared the parentheses, and then I'll combine like terms on each side of the equation. On the left side of the equation, the 8x and 3x, the 8x minus 3x are like terms. Those will combine to 5x. On the right-hand side, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Now I'm going to subtract, and get 1x minus 6 equals to minus 1. I don't have to write the 1 in front of the x, but I can. And then plus 6 and plus 6. The numbers on the right-hand side have opposite signs, so I'm going to subtract and take the sign of the larger. I can do that without my calculator, but you can use your calculator. So for checking, back to this original problem. Plugging in 5s all around. On the left-hand side, I get 19. And on the right-hand side, thank gosh, I get 19. Would have been dreadful if I didn't. One last problem. Let's knock out another one of your homework problems because it's a long section. So instead of me doing 64, we can deal with 63. 2 parentheses to clear to get started. First parentheses, I'm going to do 8 times 2x and 8 times 1. I'm going to leave the 16 on the left-hand side. The 8 times 2x I'm going to write as 16x. The 8 times 1 I'm going to write as plus 8. Next parentheses, I'm going to go negative 5 times 2x and negative 5 times 2. Negative 5 times 2x gives me negative 10x. Negative 5 times 2 gives me negative 10. The way I simplified using the distributive property in chapter 1, it's the proper way, but it's not the way I really do. So this is what I really do. When I go to distribute, I do exactly what I've just done, and that's what I'll start doing that consistently so that you can get used to what you're probably going to see in your next class, if you have a next class. So now on the left-hand side, I need to do 16x minus 10x, and that's going to give me a 6 for the coefficient of the x, and I need to do 8 minus 10, and that's going to give me a negative 2. Cleared the parentheses, combine like terms. Of course, we're going to get a fraction answer. Now I'm going to add 2 to both sides. This is going to give me 18 equals to 6x. And then divide by 6, divide by 6. 18 over 6. I'll just enter that fraction on my calculator so I don't mess up. 18 over 6. Oh, really? 18 over 6 reduces to 3. I'm not getting a fraction answer. Equals to x. I have a mistake on my key, I suspect. Let me check this now. I'm worried that I'm just worried. So the original problem, let me change those x's to 3. Let me see if 16 equals 8 times 2 times 3 plus 1 minus 5 times 2 times 2 plus 2. This side is 16. I don't need to worry about it. I just need to work on this right side. So 8 parentheses 2 times 3 plus 1 parentheses minus 5. Whoa. This should be a 3 here again. 2 times 3 plus 2. 5 parentheses 2 times 3 plus 2. Oh, it works. So the answer is 3. It's not a fraction. I have a mistake on my key that I'll fix. That's got to be enough. We've got full hour and 15 minutes into solving these kinds of equations. But this is a really, really important skill. So hopefully you don't feel horrible about this. Try to do all the odd problems. Check every time because, like I said, this is a really important skill.